All right, y'all. So today we're going to get into an interesting topic. I've seen this topic kind of going all around, but I've also kind of talked to a lot of my homeboys about this topic, and I've been kind of going through it myself. So today I'm going to talk about exactly why a lot of men are choosing to stay single, right? And I would say the number one reason, right? I'm going to get into a lot of reasons. It's going to be a long video. I actually wrote down some of this stuff. I'm going to try not to yap too much because it'll be a long video. But I would definitely say the number one thing is definitely social media. Social media has changed expectations, access, a lot of different things, right? And it makes it so easy, unfortunately, it makes it so easy for a lot of people to cheat on their partners, whether it's, liking pictures or DMing other people, commenting hard eyes, or actually meeting up with the person. It makes it super easy because you could literally send a message. Right. And if you're in a relationship with somebody and then someone sends them a message, like, for example, say you're in a relationship with someone and Dak Prescott sends her a message or something like that, and she's in Dallas. I mean, she's going to be tempted to act on that because that's someone that she doesn't necessarily always have access to. Now, of course, that depends on the certain person, but just the fact that they have access changes the game. Something that hasn't ever been like that. Right. This is a new time we're living in. And that plays a significant factor. My personal experience with social media, because I've had 10K plus followers on Instagram since like 2016, I believe. Like 2016, I had 10K. Then by 2018, I think I had like 50K, which I used to not think followers mattered. But trust me, the way that like women treat you when you have followers, or like the way you get on the explore page and the access you have from different people is different, guys. It is different. And a lot of people who don't have like a lot of followers, like I got a lot of friends with a lot of followers as well. A lot of people who don't have like that quote unquote social media clout, they don't understand what it means. Cause literally chicks will like hit me up like and be like, they'll hit me up, and then if I answer, they'll be like, oh my God, I didn't think you would respond. Right. And it's like, that's already an in. Like once they hit you up, that's already an in. And a lot of people, if they're not like very social media savvy, like a lot of guys who are like in relationships, they don't realize that, who your girl follows. Unfortunately, it does matter. I know that people are going to say like, oh my God, you sound insecure. No, like I've had a lot of situations myself, not to mention my homeboys had a lot of situations too, but I've had a lot of situations myself where like, someone will hit me up and then, try to meet up and stuff like that. Come to find out they have like a boyfriend, or I'll actually go on a date and kind of see this person for a little bit just to find out they have a boyfriend later. But they hit me up first and they followed me first and they like my pictures. And this has happened not one time, not 10 times, not 20 times. Like it's happened a lot. And then I started like really having to be like, hey, I need to start looking at these profiles and like kind of checking, because a lot of times they didn't really have like a boyfriend on there. I even had a situation where some random chick, we met on social media or whatever, and we kind of hung out for a while. She stayed the night one time and everything was cool. And then she literally left. Like she went back to her hometown the next day. And I like go to social media. I was like, oh, I didn't know she went back home. And I see her getting engaged on the beach to her like fiance. I guess he was like, out of town or something for business or something. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And things like that kind of woke me up to, the nature and how things can be. I'm not saying everyone's like that. I'm just saying a lot of people have kind of been exposed to that. But yeah. That's basically social media. Like I said, it gives girls like access to a lot of people, a lot of different people that they haven't had access to before. And then obviously it's the fastest way to spread information. So there's a lot of like Justin LeBoys saying a bunch of bullshit like, oh, if your man doesn't do this, then he's not worth it. There's a lot of influencers out there giving dating advice, and none of them are married. All of them are like single. And most of the people pushing music as well, most of them are, single as well. Most people pushing the music, most of them are like in relationships, but they're pushing you to be single, right? Single. So like that's another issue that I see a lot. Like a lot of musicians that have like, they're dating, they have a good life, and they're just pushing out all this toxic, degenerate music. And then there's a lot of toxicity on social media, obviously, as well. But yeah, like there is, like social media does give women a lot of access to a lot of dudes. And it makes it so easy for them to, even if they're in a relationship, it makes it easy for them to cheat, makes them easier to like try different options. And that's definitely number one. So let's get into number two. Let's go to the other side, right? Usually, like I would say a lot of men who aren't even like attempting to date these days, there's different reasons. Obviously, like right now, I'm just focused on business. If someone comes along, they do. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't really care. That's not my focus. But there are some, unfortunately, some incels who like literally are hopeless about everything. They're like, oh, I can't get abs. Oh, I can't, if I go to the gym, there's no point because I'm ugly, this, that. And they just do not want to self-improve, and they believe everything is just, doomed, right? There's a lot of those. So they end up being, out of shape, playing video games 24/7, unkempt. Their bodies are unkempt, their face is disheveled. Like if you're not getting haircuts and you're not taking care of yourself, you're not actually going through a process of self-improvement where you're starting to love yourself and learn more and learn about success, then you're never gonna win. Like if you quit before you start, you can't win, because the only way to fail is to quit. And there's a lot of those guys nowadays. Like they'll send messages like, oh, well, if I had your, if I had your genetics, or, I wish I could, look like that if I had your genetics, all this other stuff. And it's like, yo, right now, like if you lean out, your jawline will look better, because it would be like some fat, 17-year-old, 18-year-old or something like that. I'm like, dude, your life hasn't started. If you lean out right now, start lifting weights, your jawline will get, firmer, and then start working out, start getting haircuts, and then you'll have a lot of success in that aspect as well, at dating and other things, But you can't just give up. Like a lot of incels have not lived life. They have not even been rejected once. They haven't even tried once. Like they haven't sent a DM. They haven't downloaded a dating app. They haven't self-improved. They haven't approached a girl ever. And they haven't, like, maybe they got choosing signals and didn't approach. They haven't done any of those things, and they're already like giving up. In any aspect of life, in school, in business, if you quit before you start, you're not gonna make it. Like when I was doing in-person training, if I quit after the first 50 people said no, they weren't interested, then I would never be the most successful trainer at that specific gym. It would have never happened. So that's another thing that I see a lot. And another thing I would say is the feminization of men and the masculization of women. A lot of times in different situations, I've noticed like nowadays, women, like they'll put their careers first, when as men, we all know that we're not really like attracted to how much money you make as a woman, especially if you're a man and you're making good money yourself. You're not going to be attracted to like a woman who's making like, a lot of money. Like that's not why you're attracted to her. You're not attracted to her for the money. We are attracted to different things. Obviously we're looks oriented, but also, behavior as well. Like, does she even like you? Because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these chicks these days now, thank God I haven't had to deal with it, but I've seen it going out in public. I've seen it like on social media, and like a lot of these chicks are like super, mean to their guy. Like they don't even like the guy. They're just staying with him for whatever reason. You know what I mean? They don't even respect him. So a big thing for us men is like we're attracted to like looks, and then a woman that has respect for us and she's there to support us basically, right? And has her own thoughts, her own mindset, her own life, all of that, right? Because we don't just want some woman with like no mindset of her own. She just kind of follows everything. You know what I mean? Like if she has a mindset on her own, she thinks on her own, and she like helps you out, things like that. And that's what we're attracted to. Dudes, like a lot of dudes don't realize that you got to bare minimum self-improve, because women are going to have high standards, because they do the choosing. You know what I mean? They do the choosing when it comes to like dating a lot of the time. So they're not going to give you access to even talk to them if you don't look a certain way. Like you don't have their bare minimum attraction, which usually is just being fit, which I know a lot of people get mad at that, but everything is better when you fit. Like you feel better, you have more energy, your health markers are better, your blood pressure is lower. All of that stuff is good. So it's actually in your best interest, and it shows that you're dedicated, ambitious, and disciplined, which, that's very, very obviously important when it comes to any aspect of success. Like every aspect of success aligns perfectly with the fitness journey. Like being fit literally shows that you were successful in one aspect. I know a lot of fit people aren't successful in other aspects, but it shows that you can potentially apply that discipline to other aspects of your life and become successful. So that's like a big marker. That's why people are attracted to it, because it's a big marker of health. Like one thing you can't do is you can't try to force women to be attracted to more feminized men, because they just can't do it. They can try, but it just can't happen. You know what I mean? Just like men can't be attracted to like super masculine women. They just can't do it. They try, but they just can't do it. You know what I mean? So yeah. One more thing I would say is for men, besides them being like feminized, is their need for instant gratification. A lot of men, they just beat their meat and watch porn all day, and they're playing video games, and everything's DoorDash, everything's quick and fast, and they just don't have the energy to actually, or the energy that they don't have the ambition to actually go out there and do anything. All right, continuing with the video. like I said, a lot of men are chasing instant gratification, so they don't have the patience to delay gratification. So they don't have the like patience to approach multiple chicks or try to talk to multiple chicks, or even, like I said earlier, get fit, get into a place where women will actually be attracted to you. Because here's the thing, for most dudes, right? If you get into the best shape possible, right? Number one, you get shredded lean, you can see your abs, you get your finances together, you have some friends, you're actually like enjoying your life, you have a decent social media presence, like as far as like what you post and, you know, looks like you're enjoying your life, then you're gonna off rip attract, you know, somebody, right? And if it's, you know, if it's too superficial to attract those superficial girls on Instagram, in person you're gonna attract people because your energy is gonna be, you know, high energy. You're not gonna be just looking down and sad and out of shape and saggy looking and sad looking, because people don't realize energy is a big deal. Like, people can sense your energy, right? I know they have this term called aura these days, but seriously, like, people can sense positive energy from a distance. Like, if you go to a gym and you're lean, like every time I go to the gym, I'm leaner than probably most people there, usually leaner than everybody there. You know, Planet Fitness, Crunch, all those gyms. The commercial gyms, I'm usually leaner than everybody there. I'm usually like, you know, gym's my favorite part of the day, so I'm usually more hyped than everybody there as well. I'm usually in a good mood, and like, people will look because they'll be like, yo, what is this guy on? Like, what is he taking? Like, is he on crack cocaine? Because he has like the best energy ever. You know what I mean? So that is contagious, and women pick up on that. Like, if you go approach a woman, you don't really need a crazy pickup line like, hey, beautiful, this is that. You can just be like, hey, I saw you looking, blah, 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 basic shit like that. But it's going to be your energy. So if you go up there and you're like, hey, I saw you, I need your number. Like, if you say some shit like that, with that energy, obviously it's not going to work. You know what I mean? So energy matters as well. So stop being hopeless. You feel me? For a lot of dudes, stop being hopeless. All right. So another thing I wanted to say is, yeah, the other side of it is like a lot of me and my homeboys, right? Like, once you start to get older and you start to become a little bit more successful and you kind of understand the game more, you realize that like the older you get as a man, you know, the more options you get and the more value you actually have. So then that makes you over time less likely to want to like actually settle down, when your counterparts, like, you know, girls your age, you know, 30, they might be like, hey, we should settle down now. But you're just like, I don't know, like, I'm finally starting to enjoy life and travel. You know what I mean? So that has an effect as well. I've seen that. Like, a lot of my homeboys my age, it's like, as they get older, they kind of been put on game because they probably got heartbroken like 4 times. And as they get older, they're like, I'm getting better options and I'm seeing different things, and, you know, I'm focusing more on myself and I have more like peace and I know myself more. I'm more confident in myself. So we take a long time to age, like, and mature and provide value and have value, right? Like, when you're 18 to 24, you're basically cooked. I'm not gonna lie, you're done. Like, you're cooked. Like, you're gonna have a rough time in every aspect of life. Men aren't gonna respect you because you're too young to have accomplished anything, right? Unless you're like pretty fit, then they're like, oh, you have a good, you know, you're in good shape. But you're too young to accomplish anything. Most chicks know that you're like, you know, broke. You have nothing going for you. But if you go to college, you'll have some fun. You know what I mean? But I mean, like, in the real world, like, once you're 18 to 24, it'll be a little bit harder for sure than if you're like 30, right? So as we get older, you know, you're 30 or 35, your business starts, you know, going up. I've seen a lot of people who's like 35, 40, 45. My homeboy, he's 35, and his like, you know, his career is like really, you know, he's gaining experience and he's starting to make more and more every year, starting to manage his money, invest in stocks, and now he's like in a different mindset, right? So now he's like, yo, I got all these options. There's no reason to like settle down and commit. Like, I'm going to remain single, right? And then a lot of women around his age, they'll be like, hey, I'm trying to settle down. I had my fun in my 20s. Like, you know, I hung out with like, you know, the bad boys. I went to different cities. I hung out with like the tech person. I hung out with like the lawyers. I did all that stuff. I had my fun. Let's settle down now. You know, it would be cool to settle down. So we're kind of on different timelines. So that has a significant factor as well. I've seen it a lot, like, especially like, you know, college girls 18 to 22, they're like usually having the most fun that they can. Just kind of doing whatever. And it's cool. Hey, me personally, I don't got a problem with that. I'm not saying nothing. They're kind of just having fun, experimenting. And then as they get older, you know, they get into their career and they believe that, like, okay, now that I'm older and I have a lot of experience, you know, I'm more valuable and I have a career. But their counterparts that are super, you know, successful, they're like, okay, I'm successful. I want someone who, you know, who's like a little bit younger. That's how a lot of guys think, you know what I mean? And as you get older as like a woman, as you get older as a woman, you know, and if you're like a CEO, you tend to have more masculine traits than, you know, just like more masculine traits than feminine traits, basically, because of, you know, your job and the energy that you need in your career, right? Not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's how men think versus how women think, and there seems to be a significant disconnect. Men literally just want someone who likes them, respects them, and is decently nice. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to come home from work and like argue with somebody, right? I've been in a situation where I had to like come home from work and it's like trying to get like in an argument. I'm like, what's going on here? I literally just got home from work. Like, this isn't worth it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's one scenario. And then another scenario is a lot of us been through like a bad relationship and we've seen how like bad it could be, and we kind of just want to work on ourselves, have some peace. I'm not gonna say like a full monk mode, because real monk mode is when you just prioritize yourself. It doesn't mean you stop like dating and stuff. Like, dates are gonna come around and you're gonna go on dates. So like, you want to go on monk mode, kind of find yourself, kind of really become the best version of yourself for real, and actually pour in to, you know, your career, your physique, your mindset, reading a lot of books. You actually want to do all those things, because a lot of times when you get in a relationship, you kind of put all that stuff on the back burner and you don't even know who you are. You're like, your identity is like attached to your girl and you're having fun, this is that. And then you become obviously more feminine because you're always around her. And then, you know, if you don't put your purpose first, which a lot of us make that mistake at least the first time. And then, you know, once the breakup happens, you're like, holy shit. And she probably bounced back fast. And then it kind of hurts your heart that she's bounced back so quick. It's like, damn, how'd she bounce back so quick? And you're struggling. Then you got to find yourself. And those are some of the, you know, darkest moments usually. But the benefit of it is it's like you're going to become stronger. And you're going to come out of that like a new, like literally like a new man. You're going to come out of there a new man. You're going to learn a lot about yourself, which will make you more confident in the future, right? But just with that being said, like if you've gone through like 5 of those situations or like 5 of those relationships, then it's gonna be very hard for you to, you know, remain optimistic. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you shouldn't, I'm just saying it's gonna be harder for you, which is why a lot of men choose to stay single, you know what I mean? And a lot of times, like when a man is in a relationship for like 3 years, you know, with this girl and he's giving her everything, and then they break up, and like 1 week later she like has a few one night stands. It's like you just put in 3 years of work doing everything you can, and these dudes literally get to crack it for free, basically. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys are noticing that, and that's kind of bothering them too. And then of course you got the divorce rates, the horror stories that are being spread on social media. We never had access to a lot of this information. I don't think people understand, like back when I first started like actually dating, like in 2016, there was some Reddit forums that you have to really dig for. I didn't know about Reddit back then, so obviously I couldn't find it. But we didn't know about this information. We thought that you got to treat women like a princess, and that's what they like. But when you do that, it just comes off as like a pick me. And no, I mean, it is unattractive energy if you think about it. So you come off with the pick me energy, but we thought you had to like treat her like a Disney princess and like be like a simp, basically, right? But you can definitely be a gentleman and be a strong man at the same time. That's kind of what they're looking for, not just like a, you know, a simp, right? But Disney Channel and all this other shit made us think that we had to be a simp or whatever. So that's another issue that I saw as well. Let me see if I have anything else. And I would say just the general like lack of respect for men on like social media. Like men's mental health is a joke, obviously. Everyone takes it as a joke. There's a lot of male suicides, no one's saying anything about it. There's a lot of like men going through it, and you know, we always get blamed for stuff, especially in court. People are starting to see that like in court, especially with divorce, even though women initiate most of them, that a lot of like men get the brunt of the divorce every single time. Like the court almost never favors, you know, rules in favor of the men, and men are starting to notice that. What else did I want to say? Yeah, just the general disrespect, like the celebrity crushes. I know people seen that TikTok with the dude who bought the tickets for his girl, took her to the concert, and she like got fanned out. She was like with her celebrity crush or whatever, and she went up on stage and then didn't claim him. That's like very common behavior. That's like stuff I've seen on social media, right? Just like it's crazy. And for me personally, I think this video is supposed to be about why I'm not dating. But anyways, for me personally, I've seen so much. Me and my homeboys have seen so much. Like, let me just give you one small example. Like, there was some, I think she was, what was she? She was Spanish. She was a bad chick, right? She hit me up with like hard eyes or something in my DM. And then she like followed me. And then I seen that she followed my homeboy. So I hit up my homboy. I was like, hey, did she hit you up too? And he's like, yeah, she sent me some hard eyes in a message. And I was like, what time did she hit you up, right? And then come to find out, she hit me up first, which is good. That's cool. But we both were like, I don't know. I don't like girls who are like super fan out, like hitting up everybody. And then like 3 days later, she has like a boyfriend on her page, right? So it's like they're like dating multiple people until like one person, I don't know. They're just hitting up a bunch of dudes. And it's like once you see that, it's like, And a lot of the times, I'm not just saying that this is like those Instagram models or like those girls that it's pretty obvious to tell that, you know, what they're about. A lot of times these are like girls with like very little followers. They seem very innocent. They don't, you know, sometimes they don't like a lot of people's pictures, right? Sometimes they'll like your pictures until they DM you, then they'll unlike it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of sneaky stuff that goes on social media. I don't think people understand. Like it's a lot of sneaky stuff on there. I don't think people understand. So yeah, that's pretty much my take on it. I missed a lot of points, but I didn't want to make this video too long. I already did. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe.